Well, Gaffer, 47th birthday, I think, on Saturday, is that correct? What a wonderful way to celebrate.
Well, it will be if we get 3 points. As I've said earlier in the week, it's funny how football works, you know, and on my birthday, Peterborough against Doncaster, and I'm back here, obviously, so I'm looking forward to it, but listen, the best present would be go there and get a win.
Yeah, and of course it's a really big game in terms of where the teams are in the division, but the old adage of nothing will be decided on this particular fixture.
No, I think obviously they're directly below us. We're not on a great run at the moment over the last 15 odd games, so it's important that we get a bit of momentum back, a bit of belief back, and a win will obviously do that, especially against the team closest to us. But no, you're absolutely right. Regardless of the result on Saturday, it won't decide anything till the end of the season. There's still a lot of games to go. There's a third of the season for ourselves to go, and there'll be a lot of ups and downs. But I do feel that the win would give us a big lift, everyone. And since I've come in, obviously there's been a lot of work done on the training ground, on tactical meetings and things like that, but mentally as well. I've had meetings with the players, and I think quite a few of them feeling a little bit short in confidence. So it's important we get that. But listen, they've been very good in terms of how they've gone about things and the sort of feedback we've had.
Yeah, the mental side of the game, particularly important in a run-in, and I guess that's part of a modern manager, isn't it, to try and get into people's heads, and everyone's different in terms of how they react to different situations. Yeah,
everyone is different, you're absolutely right, but I feel that in any business and anything you do, but obviously in football as well, mentally you've got to be ready, and I think that's half the battle really, is if you've got that confidence and belief in yourself, it makes a big difference, and not being worrying about making mistakes, because the best players in the world make mistakes. It's just how you react to it. So a lot of that, but no, I'm looking forward to the game on Saturday. Two good footballing teams. They play a specific way that can be very dangerous, so it'll be a difficult game, as we know, but we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, Doncaster have obviously surprised many people on the outside, but as someone who knows that club particularly well, you're not particularly surprised with how they've gone about it this year? No,
I think they've built steadily, and I think that was always what the plan was. Well, it was what the plan was. It was, obviously get out of League Two, consolidate is what the sort of club we're after, which was comfortably done last season. And then this season it was all about promotion. It was sort of a 3-year plan to do that. So no, I'm not surprised. They've got a nucleus of players that have been worked together for a while. They've added some good loan players, and the combination of both of those has meant that they've had a good season. But they've got a great bunch of lads who have all got a very good work ethic. So no, it's no surprise to me at all. But we've got to concentrate on ourselves, and that will never change. My philosophy has always been the same: concentrate on your own performance and take care of that first.
Would it be strange going back though? I mean, it's always a little bit weird going back to an old club, but particularly when you're back at a club that you know so well. Yeah,
no, I mean, there's a lot of good people there, and I had a good relationship with a lot of people there, and it's nice to see the faces. But I'm going there to do a job, and the job is to make sure that us as Peterborough get 3 points, and that's the only way I'm looking at it. And it'd be nice to go there, get the win, get the game out the way. And hopefully celebrate some part of my birthday, but it doesn't always work out that way. But that's what we're all hoping for. But no, I don't mind going back to clubs I've been at in the past. I've come back to Peterborough, I had good receptions, had a bad day when I first came back with Doncaster, and then obviously we nicked a point last year. But no, I'm looking forward to it. And listen, for me, it's nothing else but another game of football. It's not about me going back to Doncaster, it's not about me and Grant, it's about two teams coming up against each other. It's a big game, and we'll be approaching it in the right way, but we'll be going there to win the game.
Yeah, you mentioned Grant there, someone that obviously you had as a player, but also someone that you knew very early on would go on to be a decent coach and manager.
Yeah, when I came back, seems like ages ago, and Grant
was ages ago.
Grant was captain, and he played a huge part in the success that we had in terms of obviously getting up through the playoffs, the run we had in the Championship, which was a long run for this club. And I actually you know, I always do the same with the more experienced players in the group, encourage them to do coaching. I said to Grant, I want you to start coaching some of the younger groups, which he did. But the thing about with coaching is the more you do it, the better you get at it. And it's just you've got to be repetitive, and you've got to get the experiences of having sessions and doing sessions, and obviously that got him that experience. And then obviously the chairman gave him the job, and now he's at Doncaster. But I think with Grant, the one thing is, as a manager, you need to do is make decisions, and I think he's got the ability to do that. So no, he's done well, and you know, I wish him all the success, because we had a good relationship here. He played some great football when he was with us, probably the best football he's played, and he was an important part of that team. But you know, Saturday, that counts for nothing. I'm going up against him, I want to beat him.
Yeah. You mentioned the mental side you've had to do with the players. Obviously, physically, you've had a clear week, which has been important, because it's been so rushed, obviously, in terms of the games you've had, and you've not had too much time to get everything into them. Have you felt a little bit more comfortable given the time you've had on the training pitch?
Yeah, because you come in on a Sunday, you go through what you need to, bearing in mind that they just had the game on a Saturday. And also with players, it can be quite a nervous time when a new manager comes in, because obviously new managers have different ideas. What we'll try to do is just keep them all together and keep them positive, and try and get into the work into them as much as we can. But they've been very receptive, but we've got to take that into games. We've been unfortunate in the fact that the game on Saturday, obviously Lee getting sent off had a big effect on it, and I thought we were going to get what would have been a good point. So it was a cruel blow for the players, because they put everything into the second half. So it's been a little bit bitty in that sense. And getting the point at Bristol, you then got a home game thinking, well, if you can get a win there, then it's a good start. But obviously the sending off did have an effect in the game. But no, we feel that, you know, we get a win, and it'll really lift us with a lot of confidence, and I think we'll really kick on from that.
Obviously, Lee suspended. Ryan Taff is only back from suspension this weekend. Options, I guess, is particularly in central defence now, given obviously the availability of Taff.
Yeah, we looked at that situation when we came in. Obviously, with young Ben White, Benno, Taff, we knew was suspended, but obviously he's, you know, back for the last 15 games. We brought in young Josh, who can play centre half, right back. He can sit in the middle of the park as well. So we have got better options. Taff, obviously left footed as well, gives you that balance. But you know, I seen a real improvement in my centre halves from the Tuesday to the Saturday, and the work we'd done, I was pleased with them. And when we went to a 3, I was pleased with that. So I've got different options. I've got different ideas of different formations that we can play. So we've gone through all that, and we'll go through it again today.
Yeah, I know you don't like making comparisons, but Ben White and Ryan Bennett are very similar in terms of what they can do with the ball. Benno's obviously gone on to have a fantastic career in the Premier League, and it's very early for Ben White, but do you see a lot of promising signs for him in terms of his development? Yeah,
I see, you're right, I do see similarities. I said to Strax, I can see the thing that stands out is how composed they are, and Ben, for a young guy, he's strong mentally. In terms of he's very composed, nothing really affects him. Benno was very much the same. With Benno, you had to sometimes give him a little bit of a kick up the backside, because he was that calm and composed. But listen, if he goes and has a career like Ryan, and he's playing the Premiership and things like that, and now obviously Ryan's at Wolves. But I think that is really what Brighton are looking for. I think they can see a real player, and certainly in the time he's been here, he's been excellent.
In terms of team selection, other than the people coming back, obviously you had a few injury worries from last weekend. Suiki Dembele and Danny Lafferty. Where are we with those?
With Lafferty, he's going to go out on the grass today, so we'll see how that is. With Dems, we're just waiting on a second opinion. We've had the scan, but we've gone for a second opinion on it. So by the time of closer play today, we'll have a full sort of assessment on that as to the length of the injury, or whether it's maybe what we think it is. It might not be too much. So both, you would have to say, have got a chance for Saturday. Probably Lafferty more than Dems, but again, until we get that second opinion, we don't really know.
You have to also take into consideration the length of time we have between now and the end of the season. Obviously, you want those players available, of course, but you know that if they play and they, you know, go down, that could be it for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I've learned from experience. I don't risk players. Not with 15 games to go. If you're in the last game of the season, then you can risk them, but not with 15 games to go. It's too much of a risk, and you know, you cut your nose off to spite your face, really, in many ways. And you could risk them on Saturday, and they could be out for the season. But if they come through and they feel fit, like Danny obviously being on the grass, and obviously waiting on Demps, then if there's no risk to it, then they should be fine.